I'm Ann Zill. I'm the director of the UNE Art Gallery. And I have the pleasure of standing here with my colleague and friend, Geri Vistein, who's also, we have co-curated this exhibition, Coyote Connections. And we thought we'd talk to each other a little bit about it and show you some of the works in this marvelous show with 32 artists? 32 different Maine artists who have contributed their artistic efforts to bringing home the story of the coyote and its connections. And Geri's a little more articulate about this, being a conservation biologist, so I'm going to hand it over to her right now.
Thank you, Anne.
Tell about the origins.
Yes. This is just such a pleasure to be working with Ann Zill. So, and both of us see this as this wonderful coming together of the facets of the diamond, of the arts and the sciences, because they really are all one. And that Anne has this great visions in her work of understanding that art is a very, very powerful medium to affect the consciousness of our society. And so envisioned this art exhibition called Coyote Connections. And so I came to Ann Zill 2 years ago to speak about this and to see if she might be interested. Well, she had already made her mind up that she wanted to. And so it's been an absolute pleasure to work with her. Our vision, the vision of Coyote Connections, is to have community members share their talents for something much bigger than themselves, and that they recognize is much bigger than themselves, to help educate our communities in a very vital and deep way. So the Coyote Connections has to do, or the focus I should say, has to do with coyotes' connections. So what we did was we said to the artists, this is the focus. Coyote and the landscape that they live in, coyote and their prey, coyote and their families, the mates and their pups, coyote and us, our farmers, our rural people, our urban people, and coyote and that deeper spiritual connection that we share with all life. So we gave that to the artists. That's what we gave to them. And they went off and expressed all their amazing perspectives.
And I was going to say two other little things. One of the reasons why I said so enthusiastically, immediately off the bat, yes, is because for the 16 and a half years we've been mounting shows here, when the wind is blowing right from Evergreen Cemetery, sort of from the north, I hear the coyote. There is a family, at least, I don't know how many. Some people have seen them. I have not. But I've heard them for all these years. And it's as if they're connecting to this gallery. So in order to honor that, of course I said yes. And the second thing I wanted to do was just point out, you know, sometimes magical things happen. And this is one. With that marvelous coyote shaman, there is on the floor always, because of the way the lights are placed, that wonderful shadow of the coyote. Really special. And it's kind of a way of saying, you're doing right, guys.
And thank you, and it is so true. It's very magical that the coyotes live right next to the gallery in this beautiful, beautiful, old Evergreen Cemetery here in Portland, Maine. What's very fascinating about the response of the artists is when that was sent out to them, each one responded in their own unique way. And as the more I observe and take in this exhibition, the more I see that some of the artists, what they did in their work, and we're going to show you some of them, created the vision of how we want life to be, always envisioning how we want it to be. And some of them have expressed coyote in that place or with us in that way. But other artists have also expressed through what they know of what's happening in the present time, not the vision of how we want it to be, how it is, have expressed that as well. And some of the suffering that Coyote goes through and how our human behavior is affecting them now. So that combination of the two, of how we want it to be and how it is right now, I find fascinating that the artists themselves have found that and brought that all together here.
And if I can add, one of Geri's genius ideas was to ask each artist to have a small reflection with the work of art. And so we're going to show you some, not all of the works of art. That would be way too long. But in this short video, we're gonna show you a few and read the reflection so that you'll get a good taste of what Geri's just said, of the Coyote connections we want to have and how it is now.
So our first piece is called Shaman by Carol Whalen.
And here's her reflection. I awoke one night with this exact image in mind, which was a complete surprise to me because for months I'd planned to do a metal sculpture for the show. I rediscovered the antique mirror and frame in a forgotten stash of interesting things I might use someday. The frame had been badly damaged by many canine teeth marks, with one corner chewed off. I scraped off all the old silver on the mirror glass except the shape of the inner halo. Shamans may take on animal forms and commune with us during dream states, imparting wisdom and healing. Native Americans respect Coyote as a gift from the Creator. Coyote is teacher, medicine, trickster, and offers a mirror image of who we are.
This is our vision of how we want it to be. This is a vision of how it is. And this piece is called Open Season, and it is by Sandy Crowell.
And here's her reflection. Bait and shoot. Leg or neck hold, trap, and shoot. Chase them down with dogs and shoot. All year long, night or day, no bag limit. Come, quench your bloodlust and pose for photos that make you look like a real hunter.
Both Anne and I would suggest that when you're looking at this piece of art, look at it for a long while. Because it's a beautiful piece of art, but after you look for a while, you understand these words she has just read. Now we're going to move on to the next one. This one is a very special one. Both Anne and I really respect this artist who has done this work. It is very, very complex. And we would encourage you to look at this one many, many times as well. The title of this is St. Francis and the Trickster by Jacqueline Maloney. And her reflections are just very, very powerful reflections on a very, very complex piece of art. And make comment because reflections isn't saying this, but I really like this piece because the more you look at it, you recognize that it's very complex, just like the ecosystems of the world are, how everything and everyone and all life works together. And there's so much in this piece. You have to keep looking and going, what's that? What's that? And there's parts of that piece that you don't understand. And it's like, that's the other piece with our wildlife and with coyote, with carnivores, living with all life on Earth. We don't have to understand it. It's just respecting it. And that's a very beautiful, powerful piece because of that.
And I want to say that I am aware, every time I look at this, that I see something new that I hadn't seen before. St. Francis, in the center, the very center of the piece. Coyote, all this wildlife and interweaving, as Geri has said. Here's her reflection. We humans do not always see the wondrous dream we are living in its expansive, intricate, connected entirety. We play the part of a child acting out the what if, for even the most well-informed decision is impulsive within the scale of the big universe. And so the trickster holds one of our hands and our soul the other, walking with us through our lives and showing us to ourselves. And when we fall and feel anger toward our guides and turn the blade of our knife toward them, we forget all they have done to help us so far.
This is our next piece, and it is called Guardian by Anne Garland. Again, this is this other piece of that we were speaking about, the two different aspects of how the artists are perceiving. So this is this visionary of how we want it to be.
And Anne Garland's reflection is as follows. The coyote is indigenous to North America and has lived here for over 1 million years. It is a remarkable species, having adapted throughout time to countless challenges that threaten its existence. I like to imagine its ancestral spirit as an omnipresent guardian, protecting and comforting the coyote not only in our world today, but forever.
This particular piece, what I like about this particular artist is very, very in tuned. And so where she has gone is that intimate life of the Coyote Connections within their own family, of expressing that coyote mothers truly care about their pups. And it shows this very intimate experience here that she's done in her piece. I know this artist, and I know how deeply she can express, and her reflection is beautiful, but when you look at her piece says far more even than her reflection does. And the name of it is called Cherished by Elizabeth Starr.
And Elizabeth Starr is also a musician and wrote a lot of original music. All right, this is her reflection. I've seen mama dogs with their babies. I've seen the powerful love bond between mother and puppy. That bond is shattered in most domestic dogs' lives at 8 weeks when puppies are given away or sold. Who knows about the complex maternal-child bond in the lives of coyotes? For every day the bond deepens, even as the little one grows, preparing to be a mother or father too someday.
So this is another piece that just cannot help but bring in, because it again shows the intimacy of the coyote's family, which many of us, because we do not see their lives, don't get to experience. So this particular piece is called Morning Lesson, and again it's by the same artist who has that really connection, Elizabeth Starr.
And we mustn't forget that coyotes do leap. That's one of their characteristics. And this is mother showing baby. But here's what she says. In secret, far, far away in forest and field, the important task of hunting for food is always going on. The importance of the rodent in a coyote's life is this. Coyotes need to eat a lot of them to live. But the importance is twofold. For this is coyotes' gift to the world. They keep the mouse, vole, rabbit, and rat populations from exploding to dangerous levels, such as you see in rat populations in many cities where there are few coyotes.
So this one is a very personal one again, and the title of it is called A Morning Sighting by Gretchen Halpert, and Anna's going to tell you the story that goes with it.
It's kind of a little backstory. First of all, Gretchen is a scientific illustrator, Gretchen Halpert, and the daughter of Professor of English at UNE Emeritus, Stephen Halpert, who's also a curator here with me. And the story behind it is that Gretchen was looking out her kitchen window in New York, and she lives in the country, and saw the coyotes, and she quickly snapped a photograph of them, and then painted this later. And I love her statement. I exist with large mammals as I do with other cultures. Awareness, respect, and caution when I may be regarded as an intruder. The foreground coyote and I watched each other from opposite sides of my studio window.
And this piece as well, if you can, if when you see this, look at the look of that coyote. He's truly looking at her, and the intelligence in that eye. She caught it very beautifully and very intimately. Now we're in the room with some of our larger art pieces. And this particular piece is called The Courage to Coexist by Lisa Tremblay. And she's a very powerful, intense artist. And it flows out of her own personal life. And it's very beautiful. And this is another art piece. You can look at it over and over again, and you see different things. It's very powerful. So keep looking at this one. Look at it over and over again. Also, again, too, with her, what she says here, what she draws is so much more powerful than what she's able to even actually express in her words.
And I've been looking at it over and over again. And I love the face of the human in the water. I love the paw print. I love the hand. And I didn't notice all of these at once, but over time. And the way the earth is reflected in the water, that it all flows together and everything is connected to everything else. So here's what she says. Without being too literal, how we treat nature and the creatures that exist in it is a reflection of our character.
And I just have to add one other thing. Look at the splash here that's made by her hand. Look at the splash that's made by the coyote. And they're like one, and they connect with each other. It's very, very beautiful. Just all one. Thank you. This is a beautiful, this is a unique one, and this is a large fabric piece. So this artist has put together minute pieces of fabric to create this beautiful, and you actually have to be present to get the full effect of it. But it's called Remembering the Song by Linda Shepherd.
Here's her reflection, and then I'll talk just a second about a couple of details. I dream into a time in the past when we lived in harmony. We felt reverence and gratitude for our fellow creatures. We understood how our interdependence supported the whole network of life. I wonder, could this ever happen again? Everything here is interconnected. There are some of the same materials are in the face of the man and in the face of the coyote. And there's the dark and the light, but each is ringed by the other color. And there are serpent-like creatures moving throughout, interweaving everything. And all of this is also interweaving, and the circle suggests the earth, and the colors of the sky and the water and the woods and all of life is interconnected. Wow.
So this was the actual reality of what Ann Zill was speaking about. And this piece is called The Ghosts of Evergreen Cemetery by Mark McCullough. And Mark McCullough is one of my fellow biologists here in Maine. He is one of our federal biologists, and he is a very accomplished artist as well. And it's way back in January, I asked him if he'd like to participate, and there was this absolute right away yes. And so he came down to January to here and to Portland, and he came to the cemetery, and he tracked the coyotes in the snow, and then from this all brought this beautiful piece of work, and we'll share more with you with them.
Yes, I think this is an enormously powerful work, and it's special resonance for me because of my hearing the coyotes all these years right out there. Here's his reflection. Resilient and clever, eastern coyotes thrive in downtown Portland and other eastern cities. Last winter, I tracked a family group in the snow in Evergreen Cemetery, adjacent to the University of New England campus. Like ghosts, their tracks weaved through the Victorian tombstones. Coyote will be here long after we're gone. Wow. And I just want to point out that the sky is very dramatic and very real. And this is Macaulay High School. And these are real tombstones. I don't know whether he actually saw the coyotes or reconstructed them, but we know he tracked them. And except for the frame, which doesn't personally please me a lot, I think this is one of the most powerful pieces in the show.
We love it. And he's just thrilled to do it. He's very, very pleased. This is our last one we're going to show you, even though there are and many, many more. This is called Split Rock by Richard Leatham. A little bit of a history, and he's connecting with our native people's immense respect for coyote here. And again, this is a visionary, this is one of the visionary pieces.
And he goes by the name Richard Brown Leatham, by the way. Here's his reflection. In pondering your challenge, it was first necessary to read the book you recommended on coyote behavior for background information. Then, a thorough immersion into A Coyote Reader by William Bright to absorb the legendary and fantasy aspects passed down mostly from the Native American point of view. That provoked me to reread Black Elk Speaks and Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee, which rekindled my outrage at our history of genocide and loss of the Indian environmental wisdom. The resulting large painting, called Split Rock, refers to one of those Native American legends which predicts the emergence of a new world paradigm of peace and appreciation for life on Earth when the rock splits. Coincidentally, over the past year, I have been working on an image of a natural rock split down the middle I found on Mount Agamemnicus. The painting is a hopeful amalgam to all of the above.
And let me just share one other piece. Again, these art pieces are so wondrous, in that you have to keep looking. Again, I'm looking at it one more time, and if you go down here, here is coyote. So it's a symbol of how are we going to vision ourselves in the future, and the way we treat this species is saying a lot about how we are going to be. And if you look over here, down in the corner, I hadn't even noticed it before. This is a leg hold trap, and it's open and it's gone to the side, never to be used again. And this concludes our sharing with you of Coyote Connections, and we encourage you, wherever you are in the country, do this yourselves. Art is a very, very powerful way to create consciousness in our communities, in our country, to have respect for and to be treating our carnivores in the way that nature has meant them to be treated by us. Anne?
Thank you. Thank you, Geri, and thank you.
I hear music in the meadow. A coyote sleeps nearby. Around her rests her own little children. As the sun rises up in the sky, they sleep all day in the meadow. The bird songs fill the air. The bees are dancing around the flowers. There's peace in the field so fair. A deer and her fawn graze in the tall grass. There's music in the wind. The cricket song repeats its chorus. Let the lullaby begin. And the lullaby